What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I am jumping into Hero Organization. Now, this is one that is available on Manga Plus to read, and I have talked about in passing almost a year ago. I think I had did like manga I'm reading in September of last year that I mentioned for like a couple minutes or whatever, but I finally circled back to it because it is currently at about 31 chapters. And at the time, I was like 17 chapters behind. So they had stacked up for many, many months. And I was like, you know what? I'm itching for some mech. Let me dive back in. And I am here to say that this series, 31 chapters in, is still fantastic. Now, for a little bit of context for people who don't know what Hero Organization is, um, the setting, startup premise of it, and that's how I'll phrase this, is that it follows this dad who basically he works in designing the mechs and stuff, or some version of some of the mechs in this world, and he has a son who is basically kind of like a protege in the sense of there are like VR game competitions and stuff, whatever, and he's one of like the highest ranked like VR competition players, or whatever. But anywho, the story pretty much starts with the dad, like I said, being a designer, engineer of some of these mechs, and some things happened, and he ends up getting recruited to be a soldier. Because I guess another layer I need to peel back on is that in this world, humanity, they've already been traversing space and stuff for a while, and there are these creatures known as star beasts that sometimes come through that they have to fight and combat and engage in combat against and stuff, whatever. So yeah, so there's a situation going on. They needed to recruit more people, or at least that's what they were saying. His dad gets recruited, goes up, becomes a pilot, and things kind of go haywire from there. Now, I fell in love with the series initially because, for one, it's got a dad, and two, it involves space and sci-fi, which are a couple of things that I super love. I love, obviously, as a dad myself, father of five, I love coming across series that have main characters that are parents and have a family and stuff like that. And then, like I said, I'm also just a fan of just sci-fi themed things because I just watched the first three seasons of The Expanse recently, just as a prime example. Okay, so yeah, so that is kind of like I said, like the basic setup and premise of this. Um, if you enjoy sci-fi, mechs, political drama, easy sell, easy sell. Now, I'm gonna dive into some specifics with this, whatever, because like I said, I finally caught up and I got a lot to say. So, if any of what I said sounded interesting, then go check it out. Because from here on, I'm about to talk about spoilers from everything from chapter one, the big reveal in chapter one, to current stuff in chapter 31. So, the main character, so like I said, with the series starting off with the father, Ryu. I've talked about it before, but I'll say it again. I was not expecting that twist of the father getting killed and it setting up for the son, Leo, to take over as the main character. And that is one thing that has stayed consistent is the political drama and the figuring out what is really going on behind the scenes, because it has been very cool seeing the son. So, and I guess just for people who maybe are still listening, that haven't read it or whatever, but still want to learn a little bit more, or whatever. So basically, the whole thing with the dad becoming a pilot, he it was basically a setup for them to. So basically, some shady people within the organization or whatever. When the dad is out fighting this crazy big star beast, he ends up taking down the beast or whatever, but somebody else and another highly super specked out mech comes out and kills him. And the story was set up of like, oh, Ryu Tyler, that's his name, uh, fought valiantly and defeated the beast or chased off the beast or whatever, but lost his life in combat, and now he will be seen and held as a hero. Well, when, like I said, when the reveal happens or whatever, there's a time skip, and the son Leo, he's older. He's enrolled in a academy to become a officer to pilot the mechs and stuff, whatever. He enrolled because somebody had approached him saying like, "Hey, I found out that basically it seemed like it was all a setup because this guy that approached Leo, he had a brother who also was set up at some point in time, whatever." And so they're kind of both working in tandem. This guy is kind of like a he has some title or whatever, so he's able to kind of like work behind the scenes and stuff to try to figure things out, while Leo is getting in as a cadet, working his way up, getting recognition and getting on people's radars or whatever, to also try to help figure out stuff and figure out what's going on. So the cast of characters around Leo throughout this show, whatever, so far have been really solid. Like honestly, in a sense, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a My Hero Academia type of cast of characters. Not as big of a cast, but still a decent size cast of characters where you can have him as people with the rival, his friends and roommates, and there's this girl who I believe her name was Millie, if I remember correctly. I think it was Millie, who just recently revealed her connection to things because the dad, when he was fighting the Star Beast or whatever, at the beginning of the first chapter or whatever, he ends up saving this girl and her father, who her father, I believe, was either a doctor or a scientist or something or whatever. Well, he ended up saving them during all the chaos and stuff, whatever. And so she also enrolled because over the years she was hoping to get to talk to Leo at because every year they held a like a hero memorial for the father, but Leo and his aunt and uncle that he was living with or whatever, they never wanted to attend it because it's like, nah, this isn't right. Like y'all can't like he died or whatever, and it's like y'all be like, oh yeah, well he's a great hero and rah 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 rah, and they're like, we don't want no part of it or whatever. And so Millie, she's always wanted to meet and talk with Leo and tell him the things that his father did to help them and things of that nature and stuff. So you have these different characters with different motivations and stuff. And it has been just so cool as I was reading and catching up on the stuff, just seeing them continue to explore and expand the cast of characters, the backstabbing, the behind the scenes, the shadiness, the drama, all that stuff continued to build. And I loved that. So there was a moment kind of where I stopped off where Leo had to face against what they were marking as this terrorist group. These I think they're called like something dogs. Had a really cool name, like their mech designs kind of look kind of like wolf doggish looking or whatever. And so Leo kind of got the first time in action with this super duper cool mech named Perseus. Uh, got to go into action or whatever and kind of flex his combat skills he's been honing all these years and stuff. But it was cool seeing that, cool getting a chance to kind of like learn more about the different squads and stuff of like, okay, once you kind of like finish this first level of training, there's a few different squads and stuff like the Crimson Squad, which is described as a small elite unit as undeniably popular as they are skillful. Every one of its veteran captains, pilots of the ever evolving Aegis, blah blah blah, is seen as a hero. Next group, the Pale Scale Dragoon, on equal footing with the Crimson Squad in prestige. The Pale Scale Dragoon tech group keeps them stocked with the latest ages, and then the other one, the Titan Brigade, a no-nonsense powerhouse unit comprised of pilots with exceptionally high life energy. One of the largest squads, but its reputation within the military is second to none. So it was cool getting to see more expansion on, okay, these are different groups and organizations in play. This was one of my favorite panels, like getting to see more of these cool custom mechs, freaking like, Leo's Perseus, this one called Ludmilla, Garuda, Aguala, Agunlawa, hard to pronounce. But all of them had such slick, cool designs that you kind of get to see some real person-on-person combat take place. But yeah, and when I saw that panel with the different mechs and stuff, like I felt like a freaking kid because it's like, who doesn't love seeing freaking big, cool looking robots, man? But um, but yeah. So as things have continued to grow and expand, we've gotten to kind of like say like Leo learning more background familiar about what his father actually did that day and actually being a hero to kind of getting to see some kind of more creepy and kind of scummy characters that Leo and everybody has to kind of deal with and stuff, um, and some unknown alliances and different things like that, man. Like there have definitely been some nail biting moments where Leo has kind of like had to infiltrate to uncover some intel or different things like that. That like Leo just like barely got by the skin of his teeth, as they say. But um, but yeah. But all in all, though, like this one has been such a good series. One thing I did uh, appreciate that the author started doing recently was this character relationship chart where it kind of had like Leo, his father, the dude that killed his father, that is actually secretly teaching and working with Leo, alliances and rivals and all these different things. So I always appreciate whenever our author kind of does like a really nice, clean breakdown of stuff like that. And also, man, with this most recent chapter, like seeing Leo like legit flex of like, yo, I've been putting the time, I've been putting in the work of they had this the combat training, the 2-on-2 combat training, and Leo and his teammate, they had to hold out for I think it was like a full like 15 to 30 minutes or whatever in order for the dude that Leo's working with to hack into somebody's computer to gain some very key intel or whatever. And a lot of people were like, when because Leo was kind of running most of the fight or whatever, playing the defensively, whatever, and people started doubting him. And then when the timer got down to the final seconds, and Leo just pulled out just like this crazy one hit, just ching, took out the dude or whatever, and it was just kind of like a real flex of like, yeah, if I wanted to, I could have ended this fight at any moment I wanted to, but yeah. So, but, yeah, but all in all, though, like Hero Organization, it is super cool, man. It is super cool, and like I said, one that I highly, highly recommend. Uh, y'all give a shot and check out. So, like I said, it is currently 31 chapters out as of me recording this, because I'm probably gonna release this the day before the next chapter comes out or whatever. But yeah. So Hero Organization. Let me know what y'all think. Is this a series that any of y'all have been aware of, that's on your radar and stuff, or something that you're interested in? Like I said, it is on Manga Plus, available to read for free. Of course, depending on your region and stuff. But yeah. So, like I said, just wanted to shine some light on this series. Like I said, it's one I've been enjoying, but I feel like this is also one that is like it's really good being able to read it in like a good chunk of chapters. So anybody that might be starting to get now, like having like 30 chapters to read, you're gonna enjoy it. Like I said, it has stayed good. It has stayed consistent. The art looks phenomenal. The like I said, the mech designs look cool. Even just like the general just different character designs. Like, yo, that is a cool looking character. but but yeah. So check out Hero Organization and let me know what you think. And as always, you can find me everywhere at Dennis to Talk. And I'll catch you in the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.